you guys out there, the two-time junior welter and welterweight champion of the world, James Buddy McGirt. What's up, champ?
How you doing?
Good, good. How you been?
I can't complain. Staying busy.
Like always. This man here, ladies and gentlemen, if there's any indication, if you ever watch any of his fights, which you should, how hard he is to hit, the same way as it is getting in touch with him. So I had to I had to try to bait him, put him against some kind of ropes in order to get him on the show. But he's very busy, um, just just doing his thing now as a trainer. So, buddy, tell me what's going on with you, man. What's happening in the world of boxing with you?
Hey, hey, listen. I got two big fights in June. I got a kid, Adam Lopez, fighting Isaac Dogbo, who's a former champion. And then the week later, I have a guy from Kazakhstan named Johnny Beck. I cannot pronounce his last name. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So he's fighting a former champ. So, I got a pretty busy schedule.
That's awesome, Chad. But I was just I don't I don't have to reminisce. I've got probably pretty much every fight that you fought, and I was going over your fights again the other night, and I remember when you fought Simon Brown on Showtime, and man, um, do you remember who was one of the famous commentaries on there?
Oh, Mike Tyson.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, he must have loved Simon Brown because for some reason he was giving all kudos to Simon, and I'm like,
Right?
man,
They all with Don King, so they all ride together.
yeah. And then Freddie Pacheco had said in the fight, he said, Buddy looks out of it. He's shooting BB guns, and Simon Brown has a shotgun, and I'm saying to myself, really? I was like, well, shotguns spray out. You hit somebody with BBs enough, they'll they'll
Right.
they'll 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 collapse. But I watched that fight again, and just a tribute to what a great champion you were in winning that title, the WBC title. That was amazing. That was an
Thank you.
amazing fight. And then you turned around and you fought what was his name? You fought Meldrick, correct?
No,
And
I fought Meldrick in '88
and then,
for when I had the junior welterweight
right,
title.
right,
I beat Simon Brown in '91.
right. I'm sorry, I went backwards. But when you lost that title, you didn't sit back like fighters today and wait for your chance. I mean, you stayed busy,
Yeah,
constantly getting yourself back into the position of fighting and turning around and bringing out all comers. Like he said, bring them on. I'll fight whoever. And they don't do that today. And it's like, man, that's why I call you a throwback fighter. And I was just watching you. And then you turned around and you fought Meldrick. Oh, I'm sorry. You fought Simon Brown. You beat Simon, knocked him. It should have been, he was gone. Emal Griffin was working his corner. And at one point, I don't know if you ever watched it, I'm sure you did, Emal started smacking him. Don't tell me you're
yeah.
doing it, just go ahead and do it. But that was an amazing fight. I never forget that. It was a great fight.
Thank you,
Um,
thank you.
you had revenged your loss to Frankie Warren. I watched that. I remember that fight. Another excellent fight. Fight fans, if you want to watch some good hardcore boxing, you need to Google it or YouTube it and just watch Buddy do his thing. So, Buddy, after you even at one point in your career moved up to middleweight.
Yeah, bad move.
The first fight. Well, when you fought, I thought this was so ironic. You turned around and fought Joe Gotti, the brother of Arturo Gotti, and you stopped him. And for on paperwork, they said, well, Joe's got the bigger punch. he'll walk Buddy down. I mean, and you just, I don't know. I don't know. You moving up was a bad move for him. That could have been it. It was a bad move for him for you moving up there. But man, I mean, that was an excellent fight. I mean,
Thank you.
it was great. Your whole career, just personified. So at the end of your career, buddy, you turned around and you went into training. Um, Several champions. You had Gotti, you had Antonio Tarver, Byron Mitchell, Sergio Goblet. I mean, in the school of thumb, a lot of times is sometimes good boxers don't make great trainers. But you happen to turn around and dispel a myth, and I mean, you're a man like that's on everybody's speed dial. How do you explain that?
Well, I think it comes from that. I've always wanted to be a trainer
Mm-hmm.
from the time I started boxing. So
Wow.
I studied it extra, not only as a fighter, but from the other side as a trainer. So I used to study, I used to read books every day about boxing. Every day, every night.
Wow.
That was my thing. When I was home from school, I was reading books.
That's awesome. That is.
I take them to school, and sometimes I put the boxing magazine inside the textbook for school,
Mm-hmm.
and the teacher thinks I'm reading doing for my schoolwork. I'm reading about boxing.
See, and just think, if you didn't do that, you wouldn't be where you are today, right?
Exactly.
Out of all of your fighters, who did you have the most joy of training as far as being compliant, not having to call them, where you at, all these other things that trainers go through, asking their fighters, did you run today, all these other things.
I've been blessed in that part that I've never really had that problem.
Wow.
I mean, I've been blessed because, there's times they come late or whatever, but I never had to really go search for a guy. I never really had to ask them, did you run today? Because it would tell in the gym. I would know whatever they tried to do sneaky, I would know by watching them in the gym.
That's great. You were instrumental in dethroning probably one of the best pound for pound middleweights in Roy Jones when you had Antonio Tarver. What was that camp like? I mean, no one could have figured out that Antonio was going to beat Roy Jones.
Well, Antonio, he believed it.
Okay.
And that made camp even better because he knew it. He didn't doubt it one bit.
Wow.
And I mean, from the first day I started training him, he did not. He says, "I'm going to beat Roy Jones, buddy." He goes, "I'm going to be the man that beat Roy Jones."
Wow. Yeah, he was very, very adamant about that. A little bit of disdain, I guess, but hey, he did what he had to do, and he came out victorious. You had one time in your career, you lengthened the career of Arturo Gatti. You lengthened it. Now, Arturo could always fight, but you taught him how to box, which was amazing in itself because I remember a backstory when Gotti lived in, he's from Canada, but when he lived in Jersey, he used to fight on local shows in Newark, him and his brother. And whether it was 4 rounds or 6 rounds, I mean, people were like, man, Gotti. He was a gunslinger,
Right.
You get me or I'll get you. And I was always saying to myself, man, he's exciting, but if he keeps going the way he is as far as fighting, he's not going to have a long career.
No, not at all.
It's going to be explosive. People going to love him. But, man, he's going to be out of it by the time he's at least 31 or 32. And
exactly.
How did you and Arturo come together, and what was that chemistry like?
I was away training the late Johnny Tapia, God bless him, and I came home and I went to the gym here in town, and Arturo was there.
Wow.
And he asked me was I busy for the next month or so. I said no. Why? He goes, I'm looking for a trainer. So I said, well, let's give it a shot. I
That's
said, let's try it together, see if we can click and vibe, and if so, let's take the ball and run with it. And everything worked out.
wow. So did you have any issues with him as far as being punctual, as far as him eating and stuff
No,
like
not
that?
not not at all.
Not at all.
None.
I tell you, people can say what they want. Watching him, I remember going to when he fought Ivan Robinson in Atlantic City. Now he would pack out the convention center. I think they sat 7,000, and I think it was the second fight. I mean, everybody was standing like after every round. Normally, you don't get that in a rematch or whatever, but he turns around. I mean, he came up short because he was he sometimes when Gotti got hit, he reverted back to, okay, you got me with 4 shots, but let me just get this hook off. I guarantee you. Or let me go to your body a couple of times, and I'll stop all
Right.
that. And then epic fights with the trilogy with him and Mickey Ward. Incredible fight. Incredible. Like sometimes you'll get a good maybe first fight and second fight. Third fight, yeah, people say, nah, that's not great. But all 3 of those fights were epic. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was the third fight, correct? That he broke his hand on Mickey's hip.
Yeah.
And he comes back to the corner and he starts leaning and he tells you, my hand is broken. My hand is broken. You're like, tell me what you want me to do, champ. You want me to stop it? And he takes a deep breath and he goes, no, I got to keep fighting. I was like, oh, come on. Come on. Come on. And he goes out there and because of what you had instilled in him, starts dancing on his toes, starts jabbing, starts hooking off the jab, finding his rhythm, and then, I can't speak for him, but somewhere during the course of the remaining rounds, his attitude was like, well, it's broke. It can't get, I know this is improper English, it can't get any more broken. And he just starts throwing his right hand, even though it was broken. I was like, there it is right there. Guys need to take a page when it comes to heart and intestinal fortitude. All you got to do is look at those 3 fights. Like if Sylvester Stallone didn't do Rocky years ago, he could have turned around and done it based upon what was happening, what was going on with them.
True.
It was just so amazing, man. So amazing, buddy. You had yourself a great amateur record. I think it was 54-9, right? Somewhere
Yeah.
around there, 54-9,
Uh-huh.
which is amazing. What do you think about guys now that compile amateur records that well exceed over 100 fights? What do you think about that as far as?
I think that, to me personally, I just think it's a waste of time, man. A waste of talent.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think, after, 20, 30 fights, if you 40 fights, if you're not ready to fight pro, then you're in the wrong business.
Yeah. You're not going to, I mean, I think after 30 or 40 fights, you've seen every style. There's nothing.
Exactly.
There's nothing else. That you can see. I remember going to an amateur show one time, and there was a kid. He was 16 years old, and they called him the General. So he came out. He had this general outfit on. Only 16. He had over 200 amateur fights. I'm like, he'll be done by the time he's 20.
Yeah,
he'll be burned out.
You burn out quick.
Yeah.
You burn out quick.
It's just amazing. So I tell people, listen, get you a good 30, 40 fights. You done seen it all, and then decide what you want to do. I'll tell you another fight that I loved you in. A lot of people don't talk about is Howard Davis. A lot of people wasn't expecting that. And Howard Davis, a lot of people. Let me tell you something. When I say a lot of people wasn't expecting that. You had Howard Davis, Sugar Ray Leonard. They was all on the same Olympic team. Howard, good hand speed, wasn't a big puncher, but could ruin your day. You know.
Exactly.
And you turned around and it just stopped them in the first round. Were you anticipating that, or what was?
No, not at all.
But that, I mean, perfect shot, perfect right hand. Um, and then we know that you had Fort Meldrick, and what was going on with that fight with you when you fought Meldrick as far as physically?
To be honest, I couldn't tell you because I don't remember anything from the fight.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
And then you had 2 fights with Sweet Pea. I remember when you what was that, your elbow or was that your shoulder that you had surgery?
My shoulder. My rotator cuff.
And you fought him with one hand basically because you couldn't throw your left hook. And I remember you were at a show in New York City, and we had these strange meetings and connections. I said, "What's up, buddy?" He was like, "Yeah, what's up?" I said, "So you going after Purnell again, huh?" He said, "Yep." I said, "You gonna get him this time?" Absolutely. You could bet the house on it. I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Listen, if I do bet the house, it's an outhouse." Because I knew after a rotator cuff surgery, it takes a while to mend. But I mean, being the champion that you weren't gonna just walk away from
right.
an opportunity and stuff like that. So, buddy, if you get a chance, what do you look for when you're training someone, or when someone asks you to train them? You were generous to me at one time. You were looking at a kid that I knew, and you wanted to work with him. And when I told him, I was like, man, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. I was like, buddy, looking at you, he likes what he sees, and you're not going to take the opportunity. It's not like just some, Joe Schmo off the street. But what do you look for in a young fighter when they ask you to take them on as a student?
I look at their work ethic and their attitude.
Okay.
Because some guys think they know more than everybody in boxing, and if that's the case, you don't need me.
That should be an epitaph in a gym somewhere. If you know more than the trainer do, then why do you need him?
Right.
It's amazing. So, if you had a chance to train any kind of fighter, any fighter in any weight class today, who would you like to train if you had that option?
Interesting. I couldn't pick. There's so many great fighters out there, man, over the years.
As a fighter yourself, as you growing up, I'm being redundant. I probably already know, but for the fans out there that don't know, who did you most glean to as a fighter?
Well, at first, in the 70s, Muhammad Ali was the man.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I started reading back magazines about all the other fighters,
mm-hmm.
then I started getting a different outlook.
Wow.
I started studying guys like Ezra Charles, Jersey Joe Walcott, Sugar Ray Robinson, Archie Moore.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start studying about these guys and reading about them, then you say, okay, Muhammad Ali's now, but these guys, they set the tone.
Absolutely.
They opened the doors, but these guys were great. And that's when I learned that a fighter doesn't have to be undefeated to be a great fighter.
This is true. This is true.
I mean, that's the misconception that's going on today.
Right.
The first thing people say is, well, look at his record. Okay, so what?
Right.
I mean, Sugar Ray Robinson had his first loss after 40-something fights.
Sure.
Then he went on a 90-fight win streak. People don't talk about that.
Nah. I tell you what else they talk about, especially like you said after their first loss. When B-Hop turned pro, he lost his first fight.
I was there. He fought a guy from New York, Clint Mitchell.
Wow. Now, can you imagine if he would have said, "Hey, this is it. No more. This is it."
The guy was a diabetic.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, a lot of people don't even know stuff like that.
Nah.
So, you've been in the game long enough, and well enough to know. Of course, you know that the potential fight with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury is back on. Who you picking?
I'm gonna leave that one open. Because it depends on how much that second fight took out of Deontay Wilder.
Okay.
I mean, he took a lot of punishment in that fight.
Right.
So it's just a matter of how he can come back from it, mentally as well as physically.
Okay. So what do you think about Canelo? Is he the man to beat now?
Yeah, he's definitely the man to beat right now. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Right. So they're supposed to be fighting. They're looking right now. Well, he's looking at Caleb Plant. How do you see that one turning out?
Interesting, because I saw very little footage on Caleb Plant for me to really give you a definite answer on that.
Mm-hmm. With everything that's going on right now, with the heavyweight division, who do you think are going to be the major players in the months to come? You got Andy Ruiz, who just has secured a victory over Chris Arreola. You got AJ, that's right now on the outside looking in because he has no one to fight right now. And, you got some up-and-coming young guys. What do you see for the future as far as heavyweights are concerned?
I personally think they should have Tyson Fury, Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, boxing. We don't need another fight between Wilder and Fury. We need a fight between them two, and then have Wilder fight the winner. Wilder fight on the undercard, and then have him fight the winner.
Okay, fair enough. But in doing so, somebody's going to pay some serious step-aside money. I mean, it would
exactly.
I mean,
but they're going to make up for it. They're going to make up for it on the gate.
Yeah.
I mean, they're talking $75 million apiece for Fury and Joshua. Yeah. I mean, so imagine what they're going to. If you paying out $150 million, just think how much they're going to be making at the gate and with TV and from sponsors and all that. So I mean, that's not a problem.
Personally, if I was in a managerial position with Wilder, I'd say, okay, I'll take the step aside money with the contractual agreement. I get the winner, and my step aside money is going to be at least six figures. I ain't talking about no 50,000, 100,000. You're gonna have to pay me for my time. You're gonna have to pay me. Take about 15 million a step aside.
Well, he got beat the last fight, so he can't be too picky.
Right, but he is the flying ointment right now.
Right,
and sometimes you gotta listen. Although even though even though he is in a position where he got beat, he's still holding leverage right now.
Gotcha.
But champ, listen, I know you're tired. I know you're just getting in off of red eye. It was a pleasure talking to you.
All right, same here, babe.
We got to do it again. Buddy, you see my wall back here?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, what's missing?
My picture.
All right. So listen,
All right.
this is what we're gonna do. You send me your address. I'm gonna send you a little token of appreciation for you being on the show, and I want your picture. And because we know each other like that, I'll take one of them McGirt boxing shirts.
All right, you got it.
Okay. But listen, champ, always a pleasure. Much love,
Thank
much
you.
success to you. Get you some
All right.
rest, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Dale.
All
Thank
right,
you.
you're welcome. Take care, champ.
All right.
Bye bye. Latest edition of Coffee with the Champ. Thank you for tuning in. Any questions, any comments, please send them in. Next week, you don't want to miss the show. I got a very special guest. And once again, you know I don't tell my guests, but you will be pleasantly surprised. So turn in next week. Until then, grab yourself a cup of coffee, grab yourself a cup of tea, and tune in next Friday with Coffee with the Champ. Take care.